Eric Sprott recently put out an open letter to all mining companies. As far as I know, you're the only one to respond. Take us through the process of how did you hear about the letter, and then you responded, and now you guys are keeping a reserve instead of cash in physical silver.
Correct. And I think Eric Sprott is bang on that if you don't need the money sitting in cash, why isn't it sitting in gold and silver? In fact, we had been following that type of cash management strategy, metal management strategy now for the last 2 or 3 years, typically only a month or two at a time. When we recognize cycles in the silver price, we typically prefer not to sell at the lower end of the cycle and then accelerate our sales at the higher end of the cycle. From an operating point of view, that's a revenue enhancement strategy that delivers more cash for the company and its stockholders. This past year was the largest example of that, and the call to action by Eric Sprott was very well timed. The fact that we were already doing it shows that we were already of like mind, but we did it in a much bigger way. At year end of last year, we had stockpiled most of our fourth quarter production, almost 1 million ounces of silver and 5,000 ounces of gold in refined bullion sitting in inventory. We had to decide, especially when we got to the bottom of the correction of almost $26 silver and $1,500 gold. We're going to carry this inventory through year end because just as there was an unusually pronounced correction, there has to be a significant bounce back in those metals. And we did enjoy that bounce back in February and March. And Endeavour did benefit from that bounce back to the tune of, let's say the average silver price in December was $30 and change per ounce. Our sales in February, March were average $33.50 per ounce. So we did significantly better on our sales than we would have, which is the whole point. Making more money for our shareholders. Will we do it again? Absolutely. Will we do it all the time? No. We're looking for exogenous events like the extraordinary sell down in the prices of the silver and gold last year in which to load up on our inventories.
Now, it's very exciting to have a CEO who's also excited about the precious metals, and not just in a way where you're obviously excited about your company, but you're accumulating precious metals. You're focusing on not only Endeavour, but Canark now. As far as your excitement level, when you know what you know now compared to what happened when you started Endeavour, how excited are you about getting your sleeves rolled up and putting everything you've got into Canark?
Well, as an investor, I'm pretty simple. I like to make the investment decisions for myself as simple as possible. And in the junior mining space, that usually only means 3 or 4 key ingredients: core asset, core management, core strategy, and the catalysts for growth, or the ability to deliver growth. And when you look at Canark, actually we do have a core asset. It's called the New Polaris Gold Mine Project, and it's now finally ready for development. We do have a core management team. It's separate and distinct from Endeavour's management team, but I'm also the chairman and CEO of both companies, and we do share another common director. So I think that Canark has a full-fledged management team capable of finding, building, and operating. Thirdly, the strategy for Canark historically was actually very different than Endeavour. We were a classic gold explorer. We had no interest in going beyond discovery and delineation. But that's changed because of the success of Endeavour and our team building. We now recognize that we have the ability to take Canark further. And so what's new this year is that we've changed the business plan of Canark to include development and production. Now we just have to figure out how to get there. And we've laid out a year's plan that includes not only maximizing the value of our current asset, but finding a way to free up management's time and money to go on the acquisition path and follow Endeavour towards development and production.
Now, in closing, on a more personal level, you have created a hugely successful silver company. You're focusing on Canark, but just really focusing on just an individual. Maybe they're graduating high school, maybe they're in college. You are a self-made millionaire, a very successful businessman. What advice do you just have to somebody as far as they're looking at, the economy? There's long-term unemployment. It's hard to get jobs. Things aren't the way they used to be. If you went back and just thought about if you were in your young 20s, what advice do you have for young people as far as what kind of things they do in school, what kind of businesses to start. I mean, what in general, like, do you have any advice for young people who may want to be just as successful as you are?
My goodness. Well, where to start? I was always attracted to rocks as a kid, so it was only natural that I become a geologist. But morphing into the business world for me was far from natural. It was something that I really wanted to learn, and so that would be maybe tip number one, is always have an open mind. Try new things. You never know what you're going to like. And then ultimately, be passionate about what you end up doing. If you're doing something that doesn't inspire you, maybe it's time to start trying other things. I can't remember which famous investor said it, but there's a saying to do more of what works and less of what doesn't. And that's a really good motto, is that if you're moving along in life or down a career path that isn't working for you, have an open mind. Try something new. You never know.
That's good advice. If somebody would like to reach out to and learn more about Endeavor or CanArc, where's the best places for them to go?
Well, clearly the fastest route is to our websites. In the case of Endeavor Silver, they can contact us at www.edrsilver.com. And in the case of CanArc, it's www.canarc.net.
.net. All right. Thank you so much for your time.
Lovely. Thank you.
That was good.